At what point do you stop giving managers 2 years and do you say, listen, he might need a bit longer, or he might need to get the system right behind him to allow this to happen? At what point? And you might say, after this one, okay, fine. But like, at what point is it just doing the same thing?
After a 3-0 loss at home to Tottenham at the weekend, it feels like a big majority of the Man United fan base has finally turned on Erik Ten Hag. I say finally, some were already there. It felt like that was a seminal game, and we're going to talk about, is it time for Ten Hag to leave Manchester United?
I had a guy in my comments that was like, he's got to go. And I was like, oh, it's maybe a bit reactionary. And he said, I wanted him gone 18 months ago. I said, that's really reactionary.
Wasn't that just after we'd won the Carabao Cup?
Yeah, and then he went, actually, I've had a look. I wanted him gone before he was appointed.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's incredible consistency.
That is incredible consistency.
And then I was like, that's a real bad move. And then I was like, but I'm in the same boat with Southgate, so.
Yeah, exactly. Let's we'll get to Southgate, unfortunately, but
I hope we don't.
Let's start with Ten Hag. Just overall, broad brush, and we'll dig into it afterwards. Do you think United should sack Erik Ten Hag?
No. Not right now, but that's... Here's the thing, right? Me saying no, someone might pull this out in 9 months and we haven't won a game and be like, you didn't want him sacked.
Yeah.
No, but maybe I'd do in 9 months after we've not won a game. I think it's a fluid situation. I think right now, I don't think that's the best thing for us.
Just, I'll stick with that because I wanted to come to that anyway, but you've mentioned it now. This whole thing of pulling it up in 9 months, look at this clown, he said he didn't want Ten Hag sacked, that you almost have to choose a camp and stick with it, regardless of what you see week in, week out. This, are you Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out? Even just,
I want him gone before we had him.
Yeah, exactly. Even just this sort of binarification of everything in social media and media generally. You see it on Sky Sports and stuff these days. It's not just a social media thing.
You're not allowed discussions. You have to have a debate and you have to argue for the one side or the other. And like I said, you're not allowed to change that opinion on it ever.
Yeah, because then you don't know ball and you're an idiot, and you were the whole time.
Or you work for the club.
But yeah, exactly.
By the way, when's that check coming?
I don't know.
I'm
desperately waiting for it.
I need a new kitchen.
Yeah, me too. Just on that sort of binarification of things, do you think that as a world is particular to Man United, or do you think it's football or just society in general, where you have to have an opinion, never change it no matter what, and you either right and you gloat to the people that were wrong, or you were wrong and you have to beg forgiveness for the people that knew Ten Hag was terrible, or be cancelled from the start? Yeah. Is that just a United thing?
No. I mean, the amount... Arsenal were very much in this camp until, 2.5 years ago? For the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been quite as prominent everywhere else. The bigger clubs, Chelsea are a shit show.
Yeah.
You know, right now they're kind of gloating to everyone. Okay, you've got more wingers than we've got players. Yeah. Liverpool have kind of been in a pretty decent period for a while, and they also weirdly rally behind anyone, no matter what the situation.
Yeah.
City haven't had any desire to do anything apart from like harass lawyers, and there isn't really any other big clubs experiencing anything.
Does that make it a very difficult job for Ten Hag, or do you think that's something that, like, because there's part of me that almost thinks, and like I said, we will get to the specifics of Ten Hag, and we're not here to say no one could do it, so you might as well stick with him. But whoever comes in, or whoever is Man United's manager, January 1st, 2025, do they have a job that is almost impossible to manage? The fan base as a whole, to manage the ideas and the dreams of play style and bringing through the youth, and not having a backward step in terms of form and results, and getting top four, and looking good in Europe, and winning trophies, because you can't do all of those things.
And looking good in a fucking suit if you look at some of the stuff that we've seen.
Yeah. Is whoever turns it around for United, whoever wins the next Premier League title, if the Premier League is still even the name of the competition when we win it, do they have a job on their hands that is... Like, is there only like a couple of people in the world who are capable of doing this? Or do you think there are many and we've just happened to have not found them yet? Because it seems to me like the needle you have to thread to get all of these things right is so difficult.
I think this is going to be far too nuanced for some fuckwits in the audience, so just start typing your abuse now. I think at the same time, there's probably way more people than we think that are capable of doing this, and way less people than we think are capable of doing this. Like, you can probably identify people who are tactically able to manage Manchester United and go, look, but when you have phone-ins on the colour of your suit or trainers, and the sheer weight of expectation surrounding the club, I don't know who can carry that. I don't know if there is anybody that can carry that. And people go, oh, look at Real Madrid. They're a big club. Okay, cool. Yeah, Real Madrid's squad and our squad might as well not play the same sport because they're so far different. Even Chelsea to a certain degree. Chelsea's squad is an absolute joke at the moment. They're trying to figure out how to fit which £100 million midfielder in, let alone whether they should play Scott McTominay or not, or Toby Collier. The nuance of circumstance at every single club is, I think, one of the biggest factors. Everyone that wants to say, look at what Emery did. Okay, but at the time, all of us, and especially me, because I was reveling in it, was saying, look how fucking bad Steven Gerrard's doing, because that squad is quite clearly capable. Now, I wouldn't think that squad is currently better than United's squad. Therefore, Emery's getting a better tune out of Villa than he's getting out of Manchester United. I think that would be completely fair to say. I don't think you get many arguments with that. But it was very, very clear that a competent manager would get way more out of it than Steven Gerrard is getting out of it. Now, if I put it to you, who's going to get a significantly better tune? Now, you might be able to get above Villa, you might be able to get above Spurs, and I think that's where this Manchester United squad probably rests. I think it's behind Arsenal, I think it's behind Manchester City, it's definitely behind Chelsea, and it might be behind Liverpool, which means it's probably, at best, the fifth best squad in the country. So who can get this team to fifth, right? Probably a handful of managers. Who can get this team to fifth and then manage the expectation of it only being fifth, though? And I don't know if anyone can do that. I don't even know if Ten Hag can comfortably manage that yet, because we've seen him wear about 4 or 5 different masks in press conferences. He tries to navigate and work out the nuance of how that's all going to work. So I don't think it's an easy answer. I think it's a very, very difficult job. I refuse to call it an impossible job. And I think the job has gotten easier since Ineos came in. Yeah. Because for starters, you've got a figurehead in Jim Radcliffe who says things like, we want to win stuff. And you have, was it Barada that came out last week who says, we want to win the league in 5 years? I don't think the Glazers even thought of that. At no point did they ever commit to a date and a title in that sort of sense. So there's clearly at least the desire to win stuff. Now, we've still only seen this for a quarter at best, maybe 6 months at the moment, in terms of their leadership. So they're still probably figuring out the nuances of running this football club, and they're still probably figuring out the dynamics of this team. They're probably still, letting Rennie Hag settle in and Ruud van Nistelrooy settle in. And then the managers settle into, actually, Rennie Hag's quite good at doing that particular thing and it allows me to do this. Like, they're still probably working all of those little nuances out. I just think it's such an all-encompassing job, Manchester United manager. Yeah. And the problem is, unless you are Sir Matt Busby or you are Sir Alex Ferguson, you're not a success here. Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be a manager that comes in that's capable of winning a single title and leaving, or if when we eventually get it right on all fronts, is it going to be that we win 6 or 7 titles with that team and that manager? I don't know.
Yeah, the expectations are so high or so low, aren't they? We don't have that we came in, won 2 titles and an FA Cup in 5 years and then left. That manager doesn't exist in the modern Manchester United.
Joe, this banter era of Manchester United, I think we're the 3rd most successful team in the country.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? And in years gone by or days gone by, back-to-back trophies would just be you get this season.
Spurs would fucking kill for our last 10 years.
They would. Even the last 2 years. And I've seen people comparing Ten Hag to Poch. And I know that, not Poch, sorry, Ange.
Or both.
Or either of them.
Fuck all.
Yeah. and saying, look what Tottenham have done.
Both got piped off, by the way.
Look what Tottenham have done with Ange. Like, you can't tell me that Ten Hag shouldn't be doing more with this team. He's done more than Ange. Ange was here last year when he was winning the FA Cup. Ange was winning fuck all. So the expectation, and of course, I want the expectation between Man United and Tottenham to be different, but we're being compared to Tottenham and other teams, like you've sort of alluded to there, as though we're this disaster and they're fantastic, when we've got 2 trophies since he got here that only City can beat. Just on some of his weaknesses then, this thing of conceding multiple goals. I think we've conceded 3 goals 25 times since Ten Hag got here. That can't carry on. Why do you think we're so susceptible to sort of batterings and big losses?
I don't know, but I did touch on that. I did a video this morning. I don't actually know if it's out yet. I did a video called the Worry With, or the Case Against. And I glanced at that. I didn't have them notes with the list of the games. So I did see the list of the games yesterday. I was like, fucking hell. But then I couldn't remember where I found it, and I couldn't find it while I was recording it. But yeah, I know that there's a list of games. Now, yes, there's the obvious standout moments of the 6 against City and the 7 against Liverpool. But you're right, there's been like, we love a 3-0 loss.
We love conceding 3 goals. Brentford have done it, Brighton have done it, Bournemouth did it, or 4. Bournemouth have done it, Liverpool have done it multiple times, Arsenal have done it.
I don't know. I don't know if that's something in, Jose Mourinho probably doesn't lose like that.
No.
But he also doesn't win in the same sort of sense either. So it's difficult to kind of compare across different things like that. But there's something in, and I think it probably is a Ten Hag trait in the team, of when it goes right, it goes right. But when it goes wrong, it kind of really unravels.
It's a disaster.
Yeah, it really unravels wrong. It's like, is the team lacking a bit of resiliency? Is the team lacking, like, that's not working, time to plan B? Yeah. Is there no sort of mental training of, we fucking conceded 1, rally, tighten it up, work through the problem? I don't know.
I think the Liverpool game sort of showed that quite neatly almost. We played quite well for 35 minutes, not making a lot of chances, but I think we had 65% possession at home against Liverpool. Things looking good. We're getting into the game. Casemiro makes a mistake. They capitalise on our high fullbacks. They score a goal. And instead of going, the next 10 minutes are completely crucial to this game, get to half-time at 1-0, lock it down. Casemiro makes another mistake and it's 2-0. And not just his fault, because the defence was out of shape and everything. Like, that kind of encapsulates what can happen under Ten Hag, doesn't it? These, like,
we're weirdly all out attack without having the attack to be all attack.
Yeah, we're all out attack without scoring any goals. Yeah. Does that worry you? I know you've fought back against this notion that we don't have a play style. I think anyone who watches us mostly, there is a play style. We press better under Ten Hag than I think we've done under any manager that I've ever seen for watching United.
Our build-up shape's miles better. Yeah. Okay, you have to discount the Spurs game in almost everything I'm going to say here, because it bared no resemblance to anything other than a fucking bin fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, our build-up shape is really good. Our patterns are really good. Our sort of, you can draw a textbook from some of the stuff United are doing with the ball until the final pass. Yeah. And I don't know how much of I think the midfield / Bruno are an issue that we have to fix at the moment. I think he's made himself that. I question whether or not he can play in such a, I wouldn't call it rigid, but maybe a defined. Ironically, can he play in a defined system that we apparently don't have? Yeah. Whereas I think he absolutely thrives in the chaos. Yeah. Like, I think he's sensational off the cuff.
I think he'd be amazing for Real Madrid. Do you know where it's a bit more of a go out and enjoy yourself, lads? Ancelotti's style, he's just got
I'll just stand over there.
World-class talent, and he lets Bellingham and Vinicius and Mbappe express. Obviously, there's direction to it, but I think Bruno would be amazing for them. But I don't know if he would for City, for instance.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he's. I think when you're given like a hard left and right of arc of these are your parameters to operate in, I think it shackles him a little bit. And what I feel like we've seen with Bruno this season a little bit is he looks like he's forcing it more than he ever has done. And it's maybe becoming more obvious because we are better with the ball and we have got these shapes and there are easy passes on because of our shape. Yeah. When he's sending these Hollywood balls into no fucker, people are going, fucking Mainoo's right there. Like,
the overlap was happening there that we.
Whereas previously, you're kind of like, well, yeah, Bruno's just got to do that, and otherwise we ain't going to score.
Does it worry you that, like, we can have a bit of progress in terms of performances? The results haven't been better, obviously, this season, even up to the Tottenham game. But, like, I think it was Van Basten, there's been loads of quotes, but he said that United don't have a top player. He said Bruno's good. He said Rashford is bad. That's his opinion, obviously. He said Onana's a decent keeper. Garnacho's promising, but no more than that at the moment. That United don't have a star.
Look like fucking Dan James with tattoos at the weekend.
Yeah,
by the way.
and that can happen obviously with youngsters. But that United don't have a star that can drag us through these moments. Like you look at a Salah or a De Bruyne in years gone by, or Aguero at City, or we can name others. Is that going to be a sort of limiting factor to whoever manages United, or do you think Ten Hag should be making Rashford be a 25 goal a season plus striker consistently, not just once every 3 years? Like,
I think
how much do you put on him, or how much do you put on the players?
Way more on the players.
Do you think?
Yeah. Did Sir Alex Ferguson make Cristiano Ronaldo this 1,000-goal merchant? Or did Cristiano Ronaldo make Cristiano Ronaldo this and Fergie just give him the opportunity to play?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more Ronnie than...
Well, put it this way. Has he made another Cristiano Ronaldo?
No.
Right.
Has
Pep made another Messi?
No.
Son of fucking players. Like, why are we expecting if managers could create players, why didn't Arsene Wenger make another Terry Henry if it's that easy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If managers could do that, the transfer market wouldn't exist. They would just get athlete A straight out of primary school, and by the time he's 17, it's the new Lionel Messi. Because here's what Lionel Messi just do that. It's dead easy, right? Like, no, I think it's one, recruitment is your number one thing, and two, I don't like how players go, did Sir Alex Ferguson make Ruud score 20-odd goals Premier League season, 40-odd goals a season? No, he signed him and played him. Like, that's the top and bottom of it. We don't have a striker that could even look at Ruud through a mirror around a corner at the moment, let alone in the eye. Our wingers at the moment, you're relying on a prospect in Garnacho, an unproven Premier League player, let alone a star in Ahmad, an absolute fucking waste of space in Anthony, and a player in Marcus Rashford, which, toss a coin, I don't know what I'm going to get. That's our wing options. Our centre-forward options are a guy that's not really a centre-forward, he's probably more like a second striker, but he's had to play up front because our actual striker is injured, and then our actual striker is injured. You've got Bruno Fernandes, who, in a counter-attacking side, creates all sorts of stuff when he's the focal point, and it's chaos. We're trying to not be that, so he's now a bit of an issue. You got Casemiro coming off the worst season any midfielder has had, including fucking Nigel Reo-Coker. You've got Kobbie Mainoo, who's unproven and has got like 30 Premier League games to his name. Ugarte, who's on one Premier League start, whatever it is, for now.
Yeah.
And Christian Eriksen, who literally fucking died at one point. Like, this is our entire midfield. Like,
why is he not Barcelona in 2009? Do you know what I mean?
And then
why is
the
he not
defence.
them into Iniesta and Xavi?
I think we've got a pretty good defence.
Yeah,
I think I've got a pretty good defence. So, and then the keeper, he's got his faults.
Yeah.
But he's a really good keeper. Like, so when I said I think this United squad's probably the fifth best in the league, we probably should expect us to be around about fifth. Okay, we're what, 12th, 13th at the moment. That's not good enough.
After Bournemouth's lovely.
That's not good enough. I find this United side very reminiscent of the Spurs side that got to the Champions League final. Whereas you kind of look at it and you go, there's not loads of obvious weaknesses, but it's going to cost me 200 mil to improve it per signing, because you need an Erling Haaland up front. Who's that? Who is that? Like, around world football, who the fuck is that?
There isn't one at the minute.
Like, the only player I can think of that definitely comes in and does better for United right now is Nico Williams. Somebody like that, I would go, yes, absolutely. He's going to cost you 100 mil.
Yeah. And even he's not slapping 30 goals a season in so far. I know he's a young kid, but was he 20? Like, it's not guaranteed goal. It's hard. And just to push on some of the things that people would say about Ten Hag, is it not his responsibility to improve some things about the team, though, rather than so far it's getting worse. Like the first season, finishing third, probably a bit of an overachiever in the league, won the Carabao, good season. Second season, FA Cup, great. League form, abysmal, like worse than we are as a squad. Third season, we're kind of adding everything up, decent transfer window. He can't not ever turn it around, and we just go, Xerxes only a 9.5.
I wonder
why isn't that happening?
I wonder how much takes time. Those inquantifiable things of connections between players. When you're talking Premier League at the moment, things happen before. Like there's so much playing on instinct. Like we've said this before. How often do you see Premier League players pulling tricks out? It's less than 1% of the time they're on the pitch.
Especially these days.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen because you don't have the time on the ball. Like, you are closed down so fast. So they're playing on instinct so much. Now, for you to get fluid movement and be able to play like that, you either have to have players that are sensational off the cuff and you don't really have a system and you go do it off the cuff. Hence, what we saw with the likes of Bruno a couple of years ago. Or you have a system which allows them to know that as Joe presses me, I know someone's going to be there because that's what we worked on in training, and I can play it on one before Joe actually even gets to me. And you're getting that. And people will go, well, how come every example that you want to give are doing better? I don't know the answer to that. And that is that is absolutely his responsibility to do that. And I think we do look like we're trying to play a system at the moment. I don't know if you need to go through this period of it not quite vibing. Like, a lot of people will go, you're not allowed to use the Arteta example. They came 8th twice, and they went on a run of some of the worst form. Was it like 12, 13 games of just getting twatted?
And one win in there, which was against United. It was like one win in 12, and it was against United, yeah. So,
they had to go through a teething process.
People would say, though, last season was a teething process. How long do you get?
Well, last season was different. You've had a new board coming in. They might have given you a new, right, listen, between us, this is how we want you to start playing the team. That might have happened. So there's a period of adaptation. You've got new players coming in. Half of our starting 11 at the moment are new players. From De Ligt to Mazraoui to Ugarte to Xerxes, and even Ahmad, let's be honest with ourselves, they're all new. So you go, okay, half of this team didn't play last season. On one hand, you get people go, there is players, why aren't they playing well? Okay, because they all got here last month and they're still trying to figure out what's going on with the rest of their teammates. How often do you see someone come to the Premier League, absolutely stink the gaff out for the first season, and then second season look pretty good?
You can name dozens of them.
Yeah.
It happens at City all the time.
City ice their players for a season and barely use them. They wheel them out for 2 or 3 games when they first get in. They'll be like, right, I haven't seen him. He'll have a beard next time you see him. Like,
Phil Foden's still not guaranteed to start for City.
Yeah.
And he was the PFA Player of the Year last year, and then he didn't start for 6 games in a row.
Because they take them out, work on them, and like, that's a luxury that City have earned or bought, whatever you want to say. But like, we don't have that luxury at the moment. Like, look at Højlund last season, going through a bad spell. Well, you're only fucking striker, you better get your boots on. Like, oh, I'm a little bit injured. Well, no one cares. Get your boots on.
Yeah.
And there
was a game where Evans and Maguire started next to each other, and they were both injured, and they both started. And that's your 4th and 5th choice centre backs already.
And a lot of those key players that we've got, look at who we took on the tour. Out of all the players who was on the tour, who's playing now?
Onana. That's about it. Is that it? Rashford. I think that's it. Ahmad. There you go. Yeah. I think that is it.
Great.
Yeah.
So you're like, on one hand, I get it. Yeah, it feels like a cop out to say it might just take a bit of time. But it might just take a bit of time. Also, the team just might not be good enough.
2 final questions. How much more time would you give him? It's only up to you. Obviously, you don't. If he loses 10 in a row, you can change your mind. But as it stands right now, what are you giving him to turn this around?
I think you kind of need to know what the parameters are. For all we know, Ineos might have said, bed these lads in, we'll go for it next year. I can't imagine they've said that, though. I think the requirements for every manager to stay the manager is a top 4 finish.
Yeah.
And I think he got a bit of mitigation last season because of the injuries. I don't think he gets it twice. So I think that by the latest, it's got to be turned around by Christmas. And I mean turned around, where you go, that's probably 12, 15 games. We did see things changing, things started to improve. Generally, results follow performance.
Yeah.
The problem is, 20 and Spurs weren't good performances, and they were outside of like Shaw and Højlund, you kind of got everyone available. So at what point do we turn the corner and actually start marrying up results and performances? I don't know how long that takes. I don't know if anybody knows how long that takes. But you kind of need to have a decision. I think one of the most important things to do would be to have a succession plan in. Not just go, fuck me, Baldy, not enough, off you pop. Right, what are we going to do? Like, who's taking the team this tomorrow then?
Yeah.
I think that's mental.
Presumably that'd be Rude.
I think everyone's presuming that. But you're like, okay, has Rude not had a hand in this season? I know he takes training. You know he takes training. We saw him taking training.
Yeah.
Ten Hag's off at the side observing, doing the Fergie thing in a way. Like, so if you're getting rid of a manager, is Rude long-term plan for manager? He might be, right? But does he get no black mark against him because of this season? Is that fair?
I don't think it would be, but you've got to look at the alternatives. And we said we'd mention Southgate, so we will. He's a name on a list, potentially Tuchel's on the list. I don't know if the summer ruled him out after that conversation that ended nowhere. Thomas Frank seemed to be another one on that list. There's other managers around Europe that have been linked, Motta and the sporting manager as well. What's his name again? Amarim. Slipped my mind. There are a few of the names on the list. Do any of them excite you? Longer term? No?
If you put Ten Hag's pre-United CV up against any of theirs, it's better than them.
It's true.
So when you look at how we have acted in the last decade, this manager can't get a tune out of the players. He's got to go. Okay, cool. Let's bring in Lou Van Gaal then, because we were champions. Now we're seventh. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Let's bring in Lou Van Gaal. Bit of European pedigree, European experience. Give him shitloads of money. Signs Darmian and Schweinsteiger and Memphis Depay and loads of people. This manager can't get a tune out of these players. Fuck him off. Bring Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho knows how to win, right? Let's give him loads of fucking money. Paul Pogba world record fee. Anyone he wants. This manager can't get a tune out of these fucking players. Let's fuck him off.
Yeah.
Bring Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. Hey, he was toxic. He won't be toxic under this guy. Give him loads of money. This guy can't get a tune out of these fucking players. At what point do you stop giving managers 2 years and do you say, listen, he might need a bit longer. Or he might need to get the system right behind him to allow this to happen? At what point? And you might say, after this one, okay, fine. But like, at what point is it just doing the same fucking thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the reality is a lot of people don't want to wait 2 years. They want it to be they want it to happen in the second year or in the third year. The idea of it might take 3 or 4 years is people don't mind it on paper, but in practice, fans and media and all that actually won't accept that it's going to take 4 years. It needs to be 2 or 3, because once you've got your squad assembled, once you've got your 11, and Ten Hag has that now, he's got most of the players playing.
No, he's signed 13 players. Why can't he win?
But people think once you've got that, then the results have to come straight away. And here's the other thing that I personally think is maybe United aren't the same as other clubs because of the stuff we mentioned at the start about the extra pressure, the extra history, the fact that we have 2 absolutely iconic, maybe 2 of the top 3 managers of all time have managed Man United, and outside of that, no one's really won much. Like, the expectation and the standards are different. And maybe because of that, it's going to take more to overcome all of the negatives and all of this isn't like Sir Alex, we should be winning by now. Maybe it's going to take even more to overcome that and even longer to overcome that.
How long did it take Matt Busby?
I honestly answer, I don't know. How long had he been there?
I don't think it was, he took over in 45 literally the end of the war, but the league didn't start until 48. So why didn't he win in them 2 years for starters? He did win the FA Cup, 48, Blackpool. Thanks for asking. And then I think it was 52 or 53.
Yeah.
So it took him 5 years. Widely recognised as one of the greatest of all time. How long it takes for Alex? For a title?
7 years.
But we're not willing to give people who aren't those two men less time. I'm here for the long term. I ain't going away, right? I would rather be winning than not winning. But it takes what it takes. I ain't scared of the work. You know, and I think, would you rather win these little one-offs that Chelsea win? Some people are going to be like, fucking yes, right? Would you rather win these little one-offs that Chelsea win, or would you rather see another dynasty like a Sir Alex or a Sir Matt, where you win 7 in 10 and win the Champions League again, and you feel like you are year on year in the mix with a chance to be the best team in the world every single year, and not that boom and bust that Chelsea have had? I can't imagine how draining that is to win a title. I know they haven't done it in a few years, but to win a title and then the next season be like, fuck him off and get someone else. I can't. I never want to be like that, and I can't imagine like how deflating that is. Almost as deflating as watching United is at the moment, I imagine, if not more.
I mean, I wouldn't mind winning a league title, but yeah, I want there to be a respect on whoever wins the title, to the point where you get a little bit now.
Even fucking Leicester.
Yeah.
Leicester sacked Ranieri the year that after they won the title.
About 6 months later. That's absolutely crazy.
He should have been able to take them down to the fucking Cheshire League if he wanted.
Yeah. Right. That's going to do us, I think. Thank you, Stu. Nice to go through that in a bit of detail with you. Bit of time. Thank you at home as well. Get your thoughts in on Ten Hag. Is it too late? Is there a chance for him to turn it around? It seems like he's got at least these 2 games. Presumably, if they're giving him them, there's a chance he can continue afterwards if he wins them. We'll have to wait and see. And make sure you hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll see you in a bit.